morning children. In our previous class from the electromagnetism we discussed about how straight carrying wire produces a magnetic field and what is the relation between electricity and magnetic field, how we establish and magnet how it sends its power. Magnet always it exhibits its power in the form of a lines of a force, and the lines of force passing through unit area is said to be a flux. Flux perpendicular to the area is said to be a magnetic flux density. Units are Weber. Units are Weber. And we discussed about right hand rule, right hand thumb rule also. In suppose you are holding a current carrying wire in your hand, straight current carrying wire. To create the straight carrying wire, you have to take a retard stand, and to that stand just wound a copper wire, and two ends of the copper wires are connected to the battery. Around that copper wire, before passing the current, just arrange magnetic compass. What you will see there, a deflection in the needle. How will be the deflection? It is out of the page into the page. If it is out of the page, the direction is a clockwise direction, and it is a in page, it is anti-clockwise direction, that is outwards and inwards, upside and a down. And we discussed about solenoid also. Solenoid is a long coil which is wounded with a copper wire, and two ends of this wire are closed in a helix. Such arrangement is said to be a solenoid. The solenoid itself, it behaves as a bar magnet. Always the magnetic lines of force comes from the north and enters into the south. Here solenoid also act as a bar magnet. Then we went to discuss about relation between electric current and a magnetic field. To understand that concept, here it is given as a two opposite forces act but in a different directions. For that is asking us to take a rectangular coil made up of iron frame which is in the rectangular shape, put a copper wire and pass the copper wire to a battery, connect to a battery with the help of carbon brushes and a commutator. When it is connected to a battery, current passes through the wire. Around that it produces electric field, and electric field produces magnetic field. So when by passing the current through a copper wire through the iron coil, magnetic field is produced, and around the magnet, and again it is influenced under the influence of a magnet. These two magnetic fields makes our coil to rotate in a clockwise and anti-clockwise direction, upward and outward with different polarities. Due to that, it starts moving. The shaft is a long rod which is arranged in that. This also moves with the movement of a coil, and this is the principle involved in electric motor. Electric motor is a device which converts electrical energy into muscular energy. Okay. Now electromagnetic induction. To that electromagnetic induction is asking us to take a wooden base as shown in the figure 13a. Fix a soft iron cylinder on the wooden base vertically. Wind copper wires are around the soft iron nail as shown in the figure 30a. Now take a metal ring which is slightly greater in the radius of the soft iron cylinder and insert it through the soft iron cylinder. The wooden base connect the ends of the coil AC source and which the current supplies. What do you notice? You will notice that metal ring is leviated on the coil. Switch on the current. Switch off the current. The ring will jump into the air very dramatically. Replace the AC plug with a DC plug. Observe. Why there is a change in the behavior, difference in the behavior in between two cases. What happens? What force supports the ring? Again is the gravity. Could the ring be leviated in DC also if DC is used? The metal ring is leviated in AC when AC is used. Therefore, the net force on it should be 0 according to Newton's second law. The free body diagram of metal ring is shown in the figure 13b. Weight acts down. To balance it, force is equal to the magnitude in opposite to the direction. What is the unknown force acting on the metal ring? In this activity, AC and DC changes both its magnitude and direction in regular interval of time. We know that current through the coil produces a magnetic field. So the other end of the behaves is the south pole of the certain charges is polarities. Hence we can say that coil undergoes changes in the poles of the same possible only when the metal ring behaves like a metal magnet and should change the polarities. Assume that the current flow in a clockwise direction in the solenoid as viewed from the top of the layer. So to understand that concept, why the ring is leviated when it is current is passed, a parallel is one more experiment, that is just a copper coil and two ends of copper coil is connected to the galvanometer. Galvanometer is a device which shows a deflection when the current passes. There you can see the ring-like structure. This is a copper wire and two ends of copper wire is connected to the galvanometer. And in a hand, figure 4, in his hand is holding a magnet, just is bringing a magnet close to the coil and moving away from the magnet, copper coil. Bringing close is nothing but magnetic lines of force are more, and moving away is nothing but magnetic lines are less. So magnetic lines of force or magnetic flux is changing. Due to change in the magnetic flux, what they observe? Deflection in the galvanometer. This proves that there is a relation between magnet and electricity. Without battery, we can generate the electricity that is absorbed by the Faraday. So he gave here in the form of mathematical form, we can write this. Induced EMF is equals to change in a flux by time. Change in a flux is denoted with the letter delta T by delta pi by delta T. The equation is called Faraday laws of induction, where pi is the path linked with the flux and pi 0 be the flux linked with a single turn. Pi n is the flux linked with the number of turns. So far we not specify the direction of the induced EMF or induced current. In previous examples we observed that induced current is set up in the loop. So Lenz's law, what is the direction? Okay, you are saying that the current is produced. Then what would be the direction? What is the direction of that? Can you apply conservation of energy for electromagnetic induction? So when we push the bar magnet towards the coil, the current is generated. In other words, electromagnetic induction takes place. Placed mechanical energy is converted into electrical energy. So let us discuss in a detail. We know that when a bar magnet is pushed towards the coil with the north pole facing the coil in an induced current is set up. Let the direction of the current in the coil be in a clockwise direction with respect to the north pole of the bar magnet. This is the current carrying loop behaves like a magnet with the south pole facing the north pole of a bar magnet gains kinetic energy. This contradictory to the conservation of energy. So we assume that clockwise direction induced current is wrong. Hence, correct direction of the induced current has to be anti-clockwise direction. Faraday gave the law that induced EMF, electromotive force, induced current is produced due to change in a flux. Rate of change of flux is equals to induced EMF. Flux is nothing but magnetic lines of force passing per unit area, and per unit time is said to be magnetic flux by magnetic time. So when a change in the magnetic flux, induced current is produced. It is known as a Faraday's law. And what will be the direction of that current? So from this simple figure 15 you can understand that when a flux is in a forward direction, current direction will be in a backward. So if it is in a front, then current direction will be in a backward, opposite to the magnetic flux. This is a concept we used, and the Lenz is a scientist. He proved the relation between direction of the current and induced current. Direction of the current and induced EMF. Always current direction will be the opposite to the magnetic flux. This shows only when the north pole of the bar magnet faces the south pole of the coil. Can you guess what could be the direction of induced current in the coil in such a case? Invariably, the direction of the induced current in the coil must be anti-clockwise direction. To simple terms, flux increases throughout the coil, opposite to the increase in the flux, hence decreases to the coil. It opposes in this. This was discovered by Russian physics Heinrich Lenz. Lenz stated that induced EMF will be appear in such a direction that it opposes the change in the flux of the coil. This is about a Lenz law and a Faraday's laws. Faraday is a scientist. He want to frame a relation between a magnetic field and electric current. Without a supply of electricity, we can generate the electricity just by changing the magnetic flux. Just by changing the magnetic flux. That's all for today, children. And let me remind those who are coming for the school, just the revision is going there. Now, who are sitting at home, please children watch the videos and read acids, bases and salts. Acids, bases and salts. I'll post few questions on Saturday related to that. Those who are sitting at home, try to answer that questions, and that are the important questions from that acids, bases and salts. And let me talk about your FA2 activity also. Most of them they finished, but it is my mistake. I did not check that. So FA2 activity which I described from the 5th lesson, the topic is totally deleted. So my request to you, just go for the another equation, that is page number 150, 247. That is principles of metallurgy, corrosion activity 2. Corrosion activity 2. In corrosion topic, principles of metallurgy, activity is 2, 11th lesson, principles of metallurgy, corrosion, whether it is 252 or 247. If you search that paper, you will get corrosion. There you will get the activity 2. Those who are sitting at home, they are not aware of this activity, please complete that and submit in the school. What is your FA2 activity? Already assigned you, but this is not deleted from the portion. So my request to you that just go through this and complete that activity. Principles of metallurgy, corrosion topic activity 2. Corrosion topic activity 2. And what is the your revision portion? Acids, bases and salts. Those are coming to school Saturday. I am going to conduct revision test. Prepare well for that and try to solve all the answers. Okay, children. And your exam pattern this time. Timings are 9:30 to 12:45 p.m. and 12:45. And the science particular day 6 papers only. You have to solve biology and physics. 1 hour 45 minutes biology and 1 hour 45 minutes of your physics. Okay. And physics, if we talk about a physics, section 1 will have 6 answers. In that you need to attempt only 3. And section 2 will have the 4 answers. You need to attempt 2. And section 3 will have the 4 answers. You need to attempt 2. Before that, multiple choice will have only half of mark each. Now this time we are getting 10. This is a pattern of your board exam. And what are the topics deleted? Chemical bonding, human hair, colorful wall, half of the topics are deleted, half it is there. Next, chemical bonding 8th lesson, and 10th lesson electromagnetism, and 12th carbon and its compound. Okay, children, that's all for today, and try to complete your classworks and projects. Thank you.